you very much. Honorable Chief Guest, our heartiest congratulations to him to be present here, and the Chief Guest and the special guest, Commissioner of the BACC, and our President of the Institute, ICSB, and Senior Vice President of the Institute, ICSB. Assalamu alaikum. I am privileged to have to present the Secretarial Standard 4 on dividend. And this is the one of the major issue that BACC is taking the initiative to protect the interest of the shareholders. It is the right of the shareholders to have the dividend as they are investing in the company, in the listed company, and they wants to have the dividend in their pocket. So in this respect, BACC is taking the major role, and they have produced a lot of directives to maintain this dividend issue and to maintain the corporate governance within the organization of the listed entities. So I would like to go briefly in the standards. As you know, the standards have been adopted by the ICSB a couple of years ago. As a result, all the directives of BACC has not been incorporated, but ICSB is Standing Committee of ICSB on Secretarial Standard is working on this to incorporate all the directives from the BACC. So the four points have been mentioned in the Secretarial Standard on dividend. Well, it was on the declaration, recommendation of dividend, dividend out of profit, dividend out of the reserve, entitlement of dividend, payment of dividend, and unpaid and unclaimed dividend. It's very much important for the shareholders and the complying with the listed entities. I will not go directly to these points, but it is the declaration and recommendation of dividend. It's in brief, I would like to say it's that the board shall recommend the dividend, and the members shall declare in the AGM. And it should no committee can adopt, no committee members can adopt this the recommendation on dividend. And this dividend shall be approved by the board of directors, and more on all the prerequisites shall be maintained, and all the permissions shall be taken from the regulators like BACC and other regulators if applicable. Dividend out of profit. If we want to pay the dividend to the shareholders, so we have to maintain the financial year, and we have to maintain the previous financial year if not dividend is paid to the shareholders. And dividend should not be declared out of the share premium account, capital reserve, revaluation reserve, or out of profit with the company that has been incorporated. The profit has been earned before the incorporation of the company. So dividend should be paid within the free reserve, not from the other accounts. And one thing is major point is that no dividend should be declared unless prescribed percentage of profit is transferred to the reserve. Firstly, that should be transferred to the reserve, then the declaration should come. Number 3, dividend out of the reserve. If the dividend declared in the meeting is not sufficient for pay to the shareholders, the dividend can be paid from the free reserves, and the reserve should be sufficient to pay its dividend. And one thing is that we know that there is two types of dividend. It's the interim dividend and the final dividend. The interim dividend should not be paid from the dividend free reserve. It should be paid from the declared from the it should not be paid from the reserve. Entitlement of dividend. who can be entitled to have the dividend? Of course, you all of know that the members of the company shall be entitled to have the dividend. But the condition is that the members' name should be registered either in the form of BO account or in the paper share. In the register of the company should be registered the name of the shareholders to have the dividend. And moreover, if the share transfer instrument is signed, so that should be also to the loss to the company, so to have the dividend. Chapter 5 is about the payment of dividend, and it is the mandatory provision that has been given by the Securities and Exchange Commission to pay the dividend within 30 days of declaration. It is a mandatory provision and it should be maintained to maintain the right of the shareholders. So it is a mandatory provision, and that should be paid after deducting all the tax at source as applicable, and it should be transferred immediately to the dividend account. So all the conditions, conditions that directed by the Securities and Exchange Commission had been incorporated by the committee of our committee, and to formulate this standard. So duplicate dividend warrant it can be issued by the company with the application from the shareholders. If the single shareholder, so he can application to the company for the warrant, duplicate warrant, if there is any deficit. And the other, for the joint holders, the main person shall be the first person who is the first person shall apply to the company for the dividend warrant. Regarding unpaid and unclaimed dividend, in this regard, there is a short definition in our BSS, but the BSS has adopted in couple of years ago, but BSCC has issued directives on 21-22 in the year 2021-22, and these directives are being incorporated. The working is going on for the activities for unpaid and unclaimed dividend. It is a major activity. All of you know that the unclaimed and unpaid dividend of 3 years, preceding 3 years, that should be transferred to CMFS fund. It is mandatory for all the companies to maintain, and it should be transferred, and the report should be submitted to commission so that the commission can know and utilize this money for the benefit of the shareholders. So the transfer of the amount should be done by the company. This is the directive. This is a summary of the directives that were given by the commission, and all the directives are elaborately maintained, and I think all of you know about these directives, and these directives should be followed, and it will be incorporated in our BSS within shortest possible of time. And directives from 14 November 2022. This is also directives for the companies who are listed in SME, OTC, and ATV, and in the J category. They can also issue the stock dividend, but with a certain condition. This condition has been issued by the commission, so it should have to be maintained, and it will be incorporated in our BSS. One thing is that I would like to request our chairman, the chairman of the BSCC, to incorporate the secretarial standard, because we all know that corporate governance is important for maintaining the protecting the interest of the all beneficiaries, including shareholders, owners, and the people involved with this company or with the environment. So it is now request our to BSCC's chairman sir, honorable sir, to incorporate the secretarial standard so that the commission can follow up how the dividends are being paid to the shareholders, and the unpaid shareholder dividend should be maintained should be utilized for the benefit of the shareholders. So if we want to see the good corporate governance in Bangladesh, so dividend amount should be, this is the right of the shareholders, and this dividend shall be paid to the shareholders as fast as possible with the application from the shareholders. So we think that secretarial audit is the mandatory things. It is becoming a mandatory in the future times to maintain this. So that's it for today, and this is thank you all of you. Thank you, sir.